Swing, 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 swing. Lost each other, get caught, taking hold. Cause I've been in exile from Apple to Rome. And it's been so long since I see my land. So come save your sheep with your mighty hand. As the world is cold in the dark of night. Mister, time has come to see the sun's light. While some fight for wealth, we fight for liberty. So to overcome the word is gonna take you and me to bring forth the kingdom, which is our ultimate goal. That's why we're telling Pharaoh to let our people go. Let our people go. Let our people go. Swing go. Go. Let our people go. 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 Let our people go. Swing low. Chariot, take me home.
Hallelujah. Hatzi Kaddish. Yit Kadal va Yit Kadesh Shemei Rabah. Bi'almadi Barakirutei va Yimilich Malchutei. V'chayechunu v'yamichunu v'chaye de kol Beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kari v'imiru. Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mavorach leolam ulmei amaya. Yit Barak v'yishtabach v'yit Pa'ah v'yit Roman v'yit Naseh. V'yit Adar v'yit Alei v'yit Alal. Shmei de Kudashah Berichu. Ve'ela min kol barakata v'ashirata tushbechata v'nechmata damiran ba'ama. V'imiru. Amen. Magnified and sanctified may his great name be in the world he created by his will. May he establish his kingdom in your lifetime and in your days and in the lifetime of all the house of Israel, swiftly and soon, and let us say, Amen. May his great name be blessed forever and all time. Blessed and praised, esteemed and exalted, raised and honored, uplifted and lauded be the name of the Holy One. Blessed be he, beyond any blessing, song, praise, and consolation uttered in the world. And let us say, Amen. Shalom Aleichem, peace and blessings be upon you. I am Mikael Korban-Yahu, your host here for Hebrew Vision Live. And we are going to be discussing Fighting for Freedom with Atlanta resident Melaphyre Etheoryall. He is a recording artist out of New Orleans. And we're going to get him on the line in just a brief moment.
Hello?
Peace and blessings, my brother. How you doing, sir?
Yeah, what's good, bro?
Man, all is well, all is well. Good hearing your voice, my man.
Yeah, man, same here.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, we're fighting for freedom and
Yes,
fight
sir.
for us with your organization. We're going to get into all of that this evening. But
Okay.
just let our listeners know who Melaphyre Etheoryall is, where you from, what you do, you know, whatever's good.
Yeah, man, peace to everybody listening, man. Appreciate y'all reaching out and supporting everything that y'all doing. Right now, man, I'm from New Orleans originally. That's where I'm from. My name's Quasio. Anybody familiar with the second album? I had a joint on there called that. And basically, man, I grew up and I was born in Michigan, you know what I'm saying? But I grew up in New Orleans. My family's from New Orleans. My background is I lived in Nigeria for 4 years in the 80s, you know what I'm saying, during the Reagan era. And then I moved back to New Orleans in the mid to late 80s. And then from there, man, just life took shape, you know what I'm saying? I can really say I remember everything kind of coming back from starting in Nigeria to living in New Orleans in the late 80s, you know, during the era I call really the formative hip-hop era for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you had crack, AIDS, hip-hop, and you could choose, you know, one of those 3 or 4 things.
My goodness.
And it was no choice of hip-hop. I mean, my mother raised me in a way that I never even entertained or thought of anything else, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
even in the neighborhood I grew up in New Orleans.
You there, my brother? Got a little dead spot in our air. Just give the brother a minute. I'm sure he'll tune back in. But he's just talking about his upbringing. You there, my man? Crazy, you there? Let me try calling him back. Give me just 1 second. We had a little difficulty here. Let me call the brother back and get him on the line. Give me one moment as we get him on the line and get his show back on there.
Hello?
All right. Got a little dead spot, man, so I just hung up, called you back.
Yeah, peace. Yeah, I was just kind of going on the upbringing. I don't know what happened on my end with the communicate with the connection. But
you were just talking about your mother and how she, raised you, and you wasn't, going to entertain no foolishness for yourself.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Just like coming back to New Orleans during that era, where the inner city was plagued by drugs and all kinds of nonsense. That was just never a concern to me. I was giving an example. I played football real heavy, and brothers would be in the middle of a game, man, and go score, go spell, but they come right back. You know what I'm saying? And I never really even thought anything of it until I got older.
Right.
But it was never something there.
Brother Quasi. We're getting a lot of dead spots. So we're not getting a lot of air. So hopefully we can get this worked out and get this situated. So let's just give the brother a moment before we actually disconnect. See if we can get him back here onto the to the show. Right now we're just dealing with a pretty dead spot. So I'm actually going to text the brother as we're experiencing a few technical difficulties, but we're here discussing fighting for freedom with Melaphyre, Etheoryall, also known as Quasi, Ayo, and so he'll be getting into that. You there, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, we having some dead space, man. For some reason, it's just going, dead in terms of sound. So hopefully we can get that worked out and get it going, man.
Okay. Well, listen. Let me know if we can. I don't know. I hear you nonstop, so I don't know if it's a signal or what. But I'm actually in my house, so
okay.
I usually don't have any issues here. But yeah, pretty much I was just following up with saying, raised in that environment, man. I raised from a global perspective, living in Nigeria, then coming back to New Orleans in the city with a mother who was really a progressive, I call her a liberated educator, and really, I was just raised with an understanding of what we are from jump. My mother got it very early. You know what I'm saying? She changed her name in the late 70s, and I was born with my given name, which was an African name, and understanding of what the power is in the name.
Okay.
And it's just timing, man. And I don't believe in coincidences, but timing was I came back right at the right time. I mean, I came back in the beginning of all of it in New Orleans, but hip hop kind of guided me, even though I was on a pretty solid path. But as a young black male without really a father figure other than my grandfather in my life, like hip hop was really my mentor. Beautiful. And so yeah. I gravitated towards it.
Right. And I came across you probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
I was listening to internet radio, and one of your tracks came on from the Dan Freeman album that you dropped, Spook Who Sat by the Door. And that was my introduction to you personally. So, getting in contact with you and just seeing that, you a real down-to-earth brother, man. You about the people. I definitely dug that aspect of you. And your sound was just powerful, man. What I want to do, I want to let our listeners hear one of your tracks that first really set me off. That man, this brother's on some stuff. And this is from the Dan Freeman album. This is the track Lion's Share, man. And I heard this song and I just was like, oh my goodness. So we're going to talk about the track and then we're going to get into your inspirations and things like that. But I want to go ahead and play this for the people.
Oh, let's do it, man. That'll be perfect. I'll explain everything about all the album.
Here we go.
We want the line shit. Go, 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 go. I'm leaving cash flow through my conduits, but either they can't feel my struggle or they blind to it. Only God see what I've been through. They say we want them out to a hell of beans, so I stack my lentils. When fiends want a piece of that rock like Prudential, it's depressing. Others master fears like Mr. Wrestling. Week to week stressing, but not a day go. We're even money hungry, young as past the buck like hot potato. So now we hung up, won't stop snitching. But cats get caught up, cause they pitching. Some starters, others on the end of the bench twitching, waiting for their chance to get in. So it figures plenty of players packed up in the prisons. I'm in the freedom, fighting for what I believe in. That's why I talk to my folks like Dan Freeman. Some of us hustle out of despair, some grin and bear. Yeah, but my goal's to get much more from this life. I want the line share. Go, 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 go. My folks ain't trying to hear. We've been struggling for too long, so fuck what's fair. I want the line share. These rappers fight to be the king in the air. We work through life just to revive these kids. I want the line share. Some take their freedom for granted. These cats in prison trying to buy these years. My nigga, I want the line share. My folks ain't trying to hear. We've been struggling for too long, too long, too long. I came back home to see the hood again, where cats reflect upon their lives and what they could have been. Talking that look at what they put us in. I said we gotta make it out while y'all niggas was George pushing them. So these crackers say I'm rebellious, got that thug in me. Now I ain't a thug, it's just that natural blood in me. It's like when you're running with God, they wanna dim your bezel, but I'd rather stay outside than walking with the devil. That's just a part of me. Some abstain from wealth, living honorably to maintain my people's slang, trying to refrain from poverty like I've been trying to stray from robbery. Sticking dope boy, niggas play Robin Hood, give it back to the streets like ghetto lottery. Broke's not an anomaly. We all zealots in pursuit of what makes the next man jealous. Hope is what they sell us, but I'm aware of they hustle, cause my goals can get much more from this life. I want the line share. My folks ain't trying to hear. We've been struggling for too long, so fuck what's fair. I want the line share. These rappers fight to be the king in the air. We work through life just to revive these kids. I want the line share. Some take their freedom for granted. These cats in prison trying to buy these years. My nigga, I want the line share. My folks ain't trying to hear. We've been struggling for too long, too long, too long. My folks ain't trying to hear. We've been struggling for too long, so fuck what's fair. I want the line share. These rappers fight to be the king in the air. We work through life just to revive these kids. I want the line share. Some take their freedom for granted. These cats in prison trying to buy these years. My nigga, I want the line share. My folks ain't trying to hear. We've been struggling for too long, too long, too long.
Yes, sir. You there, my man?
Yeah.
Man.
Yes, sir. I'm here, bro.
Hey.
Yeah, man.
Talk about that track for me. Yeah, that's...
everybody asks me, you know what's so beautiful about it is my cousin, man. My cousin did that track. He had never done a track for me before.
What?
Zella. He's on IG, man. But Zella from New Orleans, family. I always include family with the album. Like, you know how people get guest features, man. Anybody I got a guest, I really have a true relationship with as a friend or family.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, so that one came across, and we was gonna do the video. I got a lot of visuals for all of them, even for my older albums like that project, man. The Science, I give you the real rundown on Darren Freeman's.
Yeah, that's what I want for real. Cause that movie and the book is incredible.
Yeah, man. What happened was, it's so funny. My mother used to collect all of these. She had the book on her shelf. I was really made to read extensively from a young age, and it's funny, like I kind of didn't like it, you know what I mean? So I had assignments I had to read, so I always saw the book on the shelf. And I remember going to college in my freshman year, this European cat. It's so funny that
you broke up, my man. Quasi, you there, my brother? Let me see if I can get this back off and on. We got some dead air. Please forgive the technical difficulties we're having for some strange reason. Brother Quasi, let me try. I'm gonna hit you right back. All right, I'm gonna hit you right back and get you on the air again. We're still talking about the Dan Freeman story, that project. So we're here talking with my man Melaphyre, Etheoryall, hip hop artist, also revolutionary. And so we're just having a few technical difficulties, but we're going to get him back on the line as I speak. And he's talking about his second project, which is called The Dan Freeman Story, inspired by the book, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Yeah, okay, there we go. We got you back.
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been hearing you.
So you were talking about the project, The Dan Freeman Story.
Yeah, what I was saying was pretty much with the album, I had been hip at college. Man, my mother had the book, but I hadn't read it. And in college, it was a European cat who basically was telling most of the black students, the freshman students, like, yo, it's a film you got to see. So one day we were in the atrium, and he played Spook Who Sat by the Door. And so I'm watching it, and man, we were just into it. And it touched me in a different way because I don't know if you remember that part when the brother said some bad brothers from New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
So on that sample, me listening as a producer and MC, like I said, man, I don't care what it is, I'm going to sample that one day. So I put all my peoples back home on the film because I didn't know about the film. I just knew about the book. And then when I saw the book, my mother was like, yeah, this book. She put me on the Sam Greenlee, everything. Mm-hmm. So then I just knew, I felt connected to it. So really, later on, when I started doing albums and having an independent label, I was like, well, you know what? I feel like I'm the spook who sat by the door in the music industry because I had family that had been in the industry, like labels, Dead Prez is my peoples. I got a cousin who's an executive at Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? I knew all of these people, and I knew all the ups and downs of the industry, and I knew I didn't want to really be a part of that exploitation. So by the third album, I was just like, you know what? I just started using the moniker Dan Freeman. I started calling myself Dan Freeman of hip hop. And so people didn't know, only people who really watched the film knew. It was like, yo, I get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so by the third album, I was like, you know what? Dan Freeman Story. And so by the third album, honestly, that was probably the truest, most autobiographical album. Dan Freeman Story is probably my truest. I had just had my first child. You know what I'm saying? I had gone through, some different experiences for the first time as a man. I was like in my 30s. The first two albums, Lotus, like my first Lotus album, and they're all different. All my albums, if you listen to any of them, have a different feel, but you can connect to them because they have the same energy. But Lotus was like my first album. I was just spitting. I was just on some real MC, real melodic beat spitting joints. And I had tons of songs on it. Ugliness was really just more like an angry album at the industry. Kind of Katrina had just happened, you know what I'm saying? I'm from New Orleans. We were frustrated at the whole situation. And then, so Dan Freeman was kind of like me just making peace with everything and just coming into my own as an adult, you know what I'm saying, and as a father. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, man, so if you listen, like a lot of the tracks on there is really like some homegrown feel to it. It's really down to earth. But, and I still got the spitting joints on there too. But
no doubt.
Just, more melodic. That's the first album I recorded and mixed and mastered all on my own. That's what I mean? So, yeah, so a lot of people connected with it. My mother definitely connected with it more. Like a lot of the elders connected with it more, on a personal level. It's just a good album. You know what I mean?
Right. It's one you can let play. And that's what I was like, man, this brother is on some consciousness. You know what I'm saying? And it's, I won't say it's rare to hear it, but it's refreshing. You know what I'm saying? To know that there's some people in the industry, with music, and a good sound that's actually have substantial lyrics. They're not just spitting anything for the sake of saying anything. And that's what I appreciated about you. And then connecting with you on Facebook and social media, and corresponding and just being like, this is a genuine brother, I feel it's only right for those who may not be aware of you as an artist, and then as an individual and an African, in the diaspora, to know what you're doing, at least from my standpoint and the people that I have a circle of influence with, man. So thank you again for being on the show.
Yeah, man. And we always, I got a lot of, it's a lot of, I won't say a lot, but it's a good number of folks doing it. And we just don't get enough attention and shine from our own circle. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's kind of caught up in their own thing. So, it's appreciated when y'all reach out, man, spread the word. I had a real I had a real promo going last year with the album. I don't know if you're familiar. The last album was The Preserve, and that was my 5th studio album. And I got 2 more coming, but the last one, the big one, and that album was one of my biggest selling, if not my biggest selling album, and really connected with the sisters and the mothers. And, with everything we've been going through as a people the last 2 years, it really touches on me. So that album, really, it was about, I was telling people, like, tell 10 to tell 10. And that was the first time I really connected through Instagram, Facebook, social media, really pushed that out. Okay. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a real good energy on it, man. And all of them, all 5 of them, man. I tell people the album is like my children. Like, I can't say, it depends on the day, like, which energy I'm vibing, if I even go back and listen to them. But the one thing that I have taken is, out of everybody from a global, like, my music is definitely, my hip-hop, the music I'm doing is definitely global. I've had cats from South Africa, 5 albums, I've had cats from Japan, and I get a different response for every album. Mm-hmm. So it gives me a feeling that, I'm doing something right. That is, it's not just the one album where everybody's, man, this is the one. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, so it's just good, man, and it keeps me pushing, and, you know what I'm saying? There's no age on it. I tell people, they talk about hip-hop, I say, you never see the Rolling Stones touring, they 70 years old. You know what I'm saying? They still make $100 million when they tour.
We really
we the only people who really try to put an age limit on this music. Like, just because it started with us, don't mean we got to stop at 25, 30. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you got something to say, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
As long as I got something to say with it, man, I feel the energy, people responding to it, and all of that, then, I'm going to keep putting it out, man. And I love hip-hop and passion for me and everything.
That's powerful. So talk about some of your musical inspirations. Who are some of the artists that have inspired you along your path?
Shit, man. I mean, I grew up really with a turntable. So really, my mother, the turntable sometimes was like my babysitter. You know what I mean? My mother would be at work. I was playing everything from Lonnie Liston Smith to Ramsey Lewis to, obviously Earth, Wind and Fire of the world, the Joni Mitchells, you know what I'm saying, Phoebe Snow. So I was heavily influenced by a lot of progressive, Gil Scott-Heron. I mean, you hear that in all my albums. Definitely Gil Scott-Heron was a huge influence on me. And this is as a child, you know what I'm saying? This is the kind of stuff I was listening to as a child. Mm-hmm. So now when you want to fast forward to the mid-'80s, when I first got back to the States, honestly, I tell people I heard hip-hop, I thought Fresh Groove, it was cool. Even Run DMC, like, it was great. I liked it. It was a young energy. But the first time I was moved, like, where I was like, man, I want to do this. You know what I'm saying? Or this is the greatest thing I've heard, and I played it over and over, was when I heard Criminal Minded. And I was 13. I heard Criminal Minded by KRS, and then that was the whole era, Paid in Full, Eric B. and Rakim. Those 2 albums, but the Criminal Minded 9mm, I never forget, I heard it, and then I heard, like, that was a gangster album.
Yeah, it was.
But in that gangster album, I still heard the message. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is hard. So, growing up in New Orleans, we kind of were caught in the South, where we heard everything. We started hearing that, and then when the West Coast came up, we started hearing that. So I was in between Ghetto Boys, Tribe Called Quest, these types of groups. De La Soul, one of my favorite groups. Mm-hmm. And those are the artists that influenced me. Now, as far as once I started rhyming and being serious, it's so funny. People said I sounded like them a lot on my first album. And I didn't hear it, but I mean, I guess now that I look back, I can hear some of the vocal textures. But man, Organized Confusion was probably one of my strongest groups. Pharaoh Monch always.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, from the beginning. Yeah, Pharaoh Monch, man, as far as MCs, when you talk about people like just line for line, it's obvious. I mean, you talk about the KRS and the Rakims and the Coogee Rap. But like as my contemporaries, like of my age, like really I look at Pharaoh Monch, I look at Lauryn Hill, the MC version even of Lauryn Hill, more so from the score. Obviously even a lot of Nas's works, but it's really more of my peers, man, like people that I know, like his brother, man, that really named Skip Coon. I don't know if you're familiar with his work, man, but you'll definitely check his stuff out.
Skip Coon, you said? What's his name again?
Yeah. Skip Coon, Skipcoon.
Okay.
Like I definitely your peoples are definitely. Me and him did a lot of work together, and he's from Mississippi, man, but he's on it, real powerful, brother. Stick from Dead Prayers, man. We came up together. Tahir with RBG, and yeah, man. Just a lot of people like that, man, that I really work with on a regular basis, and influence me and music and things like that. So even if you talk right now, like in the present, I could say one of the main albums that I probably love, the Solange album. I was telling somebody, like, I listen to everything. I've written, half the albums I've written have been to actual soul music. You know what I mean? I listen to Sade album and write a whole song. You know what I mean? Like our hip hop song, but just influenced by that energy.
I got you. That's powerful.
Yeah, so it's a few, man, but it's some dope MCs, man. We just are gifted people, man. We'll take anything, man. When they talk about lemons and turning lemonade, I mean, that's what hip hop was.
True.
They took the instruments out of the schools. They tried to cut funding to the art program. We still made music. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people, like, hip hop saved so many lives, man. They don't understand, like, over the years, like the lives that hip hop has saved. And so hopefully we can let it slip, into the darkness of just being exploitive. You know what I mean? And have a balance. That's what it was always about.
Truly. So you're talking about hip hop right now. Define hip hop according to Kwesi Ayeo. What is hip hop?
Hip hop to me is about really expressing what it is you are. So whether it's you might not be an MC, but you might be somebody who can break. I couldn't dance to save my life. I used to envy Pop Locker. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I couldn't do graffiti. I didn't beat it. So when you take the elements of hip hop, I said, man, what can I do? And how can I contribute? And I knew I could rhyme. So that was what I started doing. And then I started perfecting it, and I started doing beats. So I said, man, that's what I can contribute. I can beat, I can rhyme. This is me in hip hop. Now, my cousins, they could dance, or they could do graffiti, or they dress in a certain fashion. Like, hip hop is just expression to me. And I tell people a lot of times, we like to get caught up in, if it's whack, they don't want to claim it as hip-hop. But if it's dope, that's hip-hop. Like, nah, hip-hop can be whack, too. You know what I'm saying? Just like you got the whack uncle in your family, right?
Right.
So, you can't just claim it when you want to claim it. Like, I tell people, Hammer was part of hip-hop. How you going to say Hammer wasn't hip-hop? Whatever you want to claim, like, he left a certain mark.
And you can't front. You can't
just claim Rakim and then say Hammer and Sir Mix-a-Lot ain't hip-hop.
Right. You can't front on them. Nah, they hip hop.
Yeah, you can't. That's hip hop. And now whether you like it or not, I mean, it's the same with R&B. You know what I'm saying? Whether you like it or not, that's a different thing. But in hindsight, shoot, you look at some Hammer stuff now, and it holds up better than half of this stuff out. You know what I'm saying? For entertainment value. And that's what you got to look at it at. You got to look at it. Which niche was Hammer? Hammer was not an MC. I'm not playing Hammer to go through no deep thought like I would play Nation of Millions to hold us back, right?
Right.
But at the same time, I might not play Nation of Millions to hold us back at my daughter's Sweet 16. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At my daughter's Sweet 16, I might play Hammer, and you can't touch this, and it might get the whole crowd rocking. Mm-hmm. So, you really got to we got to be careful, man, about why we pick our battles to be divisive. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's whack, or that's this. Same with the East Coast, West Coast stuff. Like, it was diverting attention, with Pac and Biggie. Man, there was hundreds of other MCs that was just as dope as them cats.
Right.
But we was just so focused on them two, and then they got taken away from us. Now, you left with, boom, what do you know what I'm saying? Like, now you're left with, okay, I make choices. I like this, I don't like this. That's not what hip-hop is about. Hip-hop, man, it was about, like Q-Tip said, if he heard Ice Cube album, or he heard of this album, it wasn't to go and sound like that. It was to go back and do the best of what you do. So then you had everybody sounding different, and you'd be surprised they was even friends. Too Short and the Tribe Called Quest on the tour together. Hip-hop used to be like that. Like, you could have a tour with Stetsasonic, EPMD, D-Nice, Jungle Brothers, totally different sounds. But now it's so divisive. And it's like, now, this person, we wouldn't tour with them. Or these right. You know what I'm saying? It's caught up into that, man. And it's like, that's not what it is, man. It's about making what's true to you, good music, you know what I'm saying? and working it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it is what it is, man. You know, we got a lot of people out here still doing it. I tell people all the time, like, don't doubt that they still got artists. Even these young cats, you know what I'm saying? Like, they got some young cats really doing good music. But, you know, and now we have a vehicle where you can push your music independently more than ever, you know? So there's no excuse. But,
on the internet, right?
Say that one more time.
I was saying you can push your home music on the internet and do it independently.
Yeah. On the internet, man, shoot, through apps, on your phone. I mean, come on. You know, there's really no more excuses for when people say, well, the label screwed me this. If you got screwed by a label, it's just because, especially more than once, it's just because, you know, you really wasn't behind your own or believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So,
true.
Other than that, though, but I'm excited, man. Like I told people 5-6 years ago, I said, the best music I got to make still yet to come. And that's the God honest truth, man. You know what I'm saying? I got 2 sons now. I listen to the stuff they listen to. Yeah. We go back and forth talking. And I listen to their opinions because, you know, it's genuine. You know what I mean? We don't agree maybe on everything, but they get it. You know what I'm saying? And so they exposed to all varieties of music.
Yeah. You got to be eclectic. That's a good sound. You talked about something, though, about hip-hop. You said, you know, there's some artists out there, and I'm thinking of art versus entertainment when it comes to hip-hop. Do you see a difference between art and entertainment and hip-hop? And if you do, what is it?
Yeah, I definitely see a difference. I mean, there's definitely a difference. You know, there's some stuff that I would say is definitely, I mean, it's all art. But if you want to talk about what kind of art it is, like, is it shock value art? Is it, you know what I'm saying, when you had 2 Live Crew, back when I was a shorty, 2 Live Crew was the shock entertainment art. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But you got to see the influence of, you know, Africa Bambaataa and all of them on Miami bass. You know what I'm saying? So, there's entertainment. That was entertainment, you know what I'm saying, for a certain crowd, a certain audience. And then you have art, you know, where the art part of it is where you got a turntablist who might be some of the dopest turntablists did bass music. You know what I mean? Like DJ Polo from Coogee Rap, you know, he started doing bass music, you know. So there is a difference. Obviously, there's stuff that I don't care to, you know, play myself or listen to that I consider dope, and some stuff I consider whack, you know. So there's definitely a cross, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I still got to say, okay, it's still hip-hop.
Yeah, I got you. So I want to talk now about going back to some of your influences. Talk about your travel experiences, even to the continent, and also your education background, how that has influenced your art, your writing, and your music.
Well, I'll address the educational influence. My mother was a professor, so from the standpoint, education was always stressed. Literature was always stressed. To be perfectly honest with you, I probably, after I got out of home, I took a break from reading. Like, I had read so much as a child, I was like, man, I don't want to read no more. So people always laugh because they like, man, I know you read a ton of books. And to be honest, it's not true. I do use references of everything. I mean, whether it's pop culture, television, film, you know, I take it and then I analyze it and digest it for myself. And then basically, when I'm rhyming, that's just really a narrative perspective of what I feel. You know what I mean? That's all it is. I mean, it's, you know, I didn't grow up selling, or I didn't grow up in no gang. I didn't grow up in none of this, but I grew up around it. You know, I saw it. I do have narrative stories about it. For me, honestly, I grew up blessed. Now, my brother, who was 10 years younger than me, he has a whole different perspective of how we grew up. You know what I mean? You can have brothers and sisters in the same house, and y'all both have a totally different view of how you grew up. So, you know, and it's expressed in our music. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, you still know, like, we grew up with a loving household and all of that. And my mother was definitely, like, she's my number one revolutionary, man, because, you know, she stressed to me about independence. Part of this thing with me being independent was because of her. She left the school system, the educational university system, because it wasn't serving our people and it wasn't fair. So things like that are really what influenced my writing. And obviously stuff, leaving the country, having a global mind of view, living in another country for 4 or 5 years, that definitely gave me a global perspective from a young age. coming back to the state and seeing the different dynamics of race and how it's affected, how the police treat people here totally different. And, just growing up with that perspective, man, it definitely influenced my writing. Now, educationally, it's funny. A lot of people don't know. Well, some people do. But I have an engineering degree. So I went to FAMU and I went to school for civil engineering. Okay. So I knew being independent, somebody's going to have money to put these albums out. And if I'm not trying to sign to a label, then I'm going to have some kind of career or something to do to support that my art and my passion. So that's what I did. So I graduated from FAMU in civil engineering. And, it's a career, and it's afforded me the opportunity to make certain connections and obviously financially be able to support my family and support my vision and my music and my art. So every album you've seen has been 100% funded by me.
That's powerful.
You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, somebody say, you want to talk about influence? I can tell you one of my main influences, and it's got nothing to do with the art part of it, but with the financial part of it, because that's another element of hip-hop that we always fail to mention. Mm-hmm. And Master P, I tell people, I say, man, Master P is the Harriet Tubman of the economic part of hip-hop.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, nobody, listen, I don't care what people say about Puffy, Jay, all of them were signed. They were still artists. You know what I'm saying? They was never totally independent. Until Master P came along, Master P is the one who got that deal, who got made it for Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? And opened up, and really, I still feel like he's underappreciated because so many people focus on his lyrical content and his skill set. You know what I mean?
Right.
But how many artists we know with the skill set, but they broke? They can't even support their families, and they out here. They gotta get on these VH1 where they now shows to get money, or they gotta do Love and Hip Hop to get money. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But they can spit. So it's a balance of it. Master P ain't out here asking nobody for a handout. You know what I mean? Like he's starting businesses, he's done this, and I never bought a Master P album. You know what I mean? I never would tell you that I was a fan of his music.
Right.
But his work ethic and his vision on not letting these labels control what he does, man, come on, you don't get more revolution. So anyway, that's an influence. And so that's kind of what even inspired me even more so, because when I put out Lotus, you got to realize this was 2002. Like Master P really was just getting on himself. I came to Atlanta. I wanted, the one vision I had was I got to make an album that can sit next to Nas or Jay-Z and look like it's on a label. I couldn't do no cover at Kinko's or FedEx. You know what I'm saying? I had to pay much. I paid $2,000. It cost me $2,000 to do my first album.
Wow.
Out of my pocket. And I'm talking about this 2002, so I got to get prints. I made 1,000 copies. The initial. Not knowing one thing about promotion. I had no idea how I was going to push it. I just said I got to get it. So I went out there, started grinding. I did the easy math. The first thing I used to get that I love, people would say, man, this looks like it's on a major label. I say it is.
Right.
I say it is major. I say, look, they saw it in Tower Records. People saw my stuff in New York. People saw my stuff everywhere because I was getting it there, right? I had connections on shipping it. So my stuff was in major stores. And then where I couldn't ship it, I would go to myself and put it in the store. And then, people started seeing it. And this was before, like I'm saying before, we didn't have internet. This was straight CDs, and you had to get the word out.
Right.
And so, then I did the second album. I did the second album and pushed it even harder, and that was probably my best-selling album, Ugliness. And I had a song on there with my brother, which was probably the biggest song, just response-wise. Everybody heard it and loved it. You know what I mean? It's called Walk Alone. And I remember Ghostface heard it, man, and Stick and all of them was like, man, that's crazy. And that song, that's when the labels was kind of trying to, listen in and do this, but they still wasn't, trying to partner up from a respectable perspective. They was trying to sign me. And I'm like, why would I go to sign with anybody when I got a better break doing this myself? If I want to, if I want to struggle economically, I can do that and have complete artistic control.
Yes, sir.
So anyway, that was it, man, and I've always had that mindset, man, with everything in life, like even with my work now, like the engineering work I do, I work for myself. Everything I'm teaching my sons right now, like listen, even if you go to college, like, you know, I mean, college is not going to prepare to come out just to work for somebody, be a robot. And you don't have to go to college. If college is not what your vision is, then we don't do that. You know what I mean? Just focus on what your greatness is. Don't let anybody else tell you what your greatness is, because usually if somebody got time to tell you what you're great at, they don't know what they want to do. You know what I mean? So, you know, I just tell them, man, try to live by example. You know, battle, take the falls and get back up. That's it. That's the most important thing. You know what I'm saying? It's coming, man, and you know, I'm gonna have some more music for everybody, brother. The next project is called Pegasus. Yeah, it's the third part of a series. The last two albums I did, I don't know if you recognize, but it was Avogadro's Number. It was a series. The first one was called Briar Patch. The second was The Preserve that I spoke of with the females on the cover.
Right.
And the third one is called Pegasus, and that's the last one, the 3-part of the series. And then I have 2 albums waiting. And then after that series is completed, I got this last project that I'm about to put out called Africa. And that's gonna be my 7th album. And that joint, I already got all the songs. I just gotta record them and get them, you know, mixed and proper. So
powerful.
Yeah, I'm excited about it, man.
I'm excited for you.
Albums. Say that again?
So I'm excited for you, man. That's powerful.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, man. And, you know, I'm going to definitely reach out. We're going to probably be doing a tour later this year for Pegasus. And, you know, I'll probably still be doing some of the Preserve. We had a big tour. I don't know if you know Book Brown and Yamin, but we came through St. Louis.
Okay.
We had a 20-city tour last year, and it did really well for us, man. We sold a lot of Fight For Us merchandise, the albums, got the word out. People got familiar. So, you know, everything we tell, listen, even with this, tell 10 to tell 10. All the people's, man, we love the response, promote it, put it on your website, your Facebook, whatever, your Instagram. And, you know, that's how we build, man, and that's how we show love.
That's what we going to do, man. But what I want to do right now, I want to go to that track with you and your brother, man. I want to let our listeners hear some more of your music, man. And then we're going to come back and get some more of your mind.
Well,
but let me go ahead with this Walk Alone track from the Ugliness CD. So,
yeah, man.
Here we go. Let's make it pop.
We got about 5 songs. Me and him got about 5. But yeah, that Walk Alone is the name. If you go to New Orleans and say Walk Alone, that's their favorite joint.
All right, here we go.
All right.
I walk alone. Yeah. I walk alone. I walk alone.
Got my brother Gates up in here. Yeah.
I walk alone.
Hey yo, straight and narrow is what I take from this life. Where you'll find that play Tarzan in this jungle, get your vine snapped. Criminal ways, cook up hefty appetites. What's left is slim pickings in the kitchens, gluttons bag for a bite. Sling out right, exposes part of this pain, part of the strength. Sometimes I feel I'm partly to blame, but it's hard to part with it. Walk with the heart of a king, but watch my castle, cause these cats will have your pastures like rocks with a fiend. One day's despair cast a shadow on this thing like the silhouette. Slugs rock the slums, thugs claim life begins with death. Gates said once he's straight, he gon' save us. Trucks move on that hand-to-hand shit like manual labor. Many want that cash with punctuations. Two commas have a nigga questioning their conscience for that paper, but won't put out the grave cats waste men. Won't hesitate to put 40 in the mule like reparations.
Damn, but all I had was what they left me with. All the shit I got is the shit they said I'd guess he'd get. Tried to come feet first, till they had to cut my mama. First signs of long strains of pain that I broke my mama. Came up with honor, older brother, we divided by 10. But I walk alone, we ain't Siamese twins. If I walk with the sun, there'd be no tomorrow. But I can't swallow my pride, but I can spit it out my throat and gargle. I wrote this for you cause I wanted to seem it like Cain from Kung Fu, Moses from Egypt. I sold you a secret that'll get you through life, so play my CD to sleep on the miserable nights, nigga. Cause I used to walk to the corner store, pass by the park, saw the fiend feeding on the court. I used to want a Morse, changing to some other shit. 6-year-old child wanted to be a different color shit. Confused, and saw blacks were looked down upon. I wanted to fuck the system, but I had to put a condom on. Just like that, gator slid up in the rap business, trying to grow a tree, but I'm swinging on a branch in it. Plus there's ants in it, rotting the wood. The gang trying to run away, but y'all chopping the foot. So I stay stomping niggas on that elephant shit with raw epilogues you can cut heroin with, nigga. But this is Kwame and some wasted shit. Get enough for patchworks, we did it in the basement shit. Y'all ain't ready for where I won't bring you to. The promised land, follow the kids, see where I lead you to. It's K Gates, call me Gator for sharp. Come to money, yeah, say I ain't no paper to talk. Hustler, nigga, corporate America. Let me get me.
New Orleans.
Who? Classic, fight for K Gates, nigga. Melaphyre, K Gates, nigga.
Yeah. Keep it going.
For all the nights I was walking alone, yanking the master plans on my walk to the throne. For all the nights I was walking alone, thinking the master plans on my walk to the throne. For all the nights I was walking alone, thinking the master plans on my walk to the throne. Cake Gates, corporate America,
Yo, Mac, take us out of here.
fight for us. Some classic, New Orleans classic. Me and my brother.
Man, that's heat, dog. That's heat.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Yeah, that was big for us. Like I said, Ghostface heard that, and he was off his mind. You know what I'm saying? It's so funny though. You know, I do beats. I do like 80-90% of the beats on all my albums.
My goodness.
And a lot of those beats on the album, I be submitting to people before I even use them sometimes. So even like, it's funny, I don't put nobody out there, but like even their friends, like Stick, man, I remember Stick heard, not Lion Shit, but he heard a song I did called Poverty on my last project. And he was like, yo, that's crazy. I said, Stick, I sent you that beat. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, there's a lot of cats. Look, the Walk Alone beat, I sent that to my brother. That's one of, like, he got a big fan base. And when people talk about their favorite songs from him, that verse, he murked that song, right? And he was the second verse. And when they talk, like, I remember I sent him that beat. He sat on it forever. Never wrote. I said, yo, this song will be huge for it. And sent it to him. He finally wrote to it. I wrote to it. And then I recorded it. He wrote. And I heard it. I was like, yeah, that's going to be a huge song for it. So,
Now,
yeah, man.
That's Kevin Gates? That's your brother?
Not Kevin. It's so funny you say that. K Gates is his name.
Okay.
Kevin Gates took the name from him. It's so funny. And so they kind of resolved it, but it was some issue at first. Because my brother had been out for a while. You know what I'm saying? He had done songs for the Saints. He had done some other big songs. And so basically when Kevin Gates came out, people were like, well, who was Kevin Gates? My brother was K Gates. So then my brother kind of flipped his name to Gator Gate and some other derivatives. But yeah. If he was signed, my brother was signed to right before he got locked up, what's his name? The guy that signed Game and Mary J. Blige and all of that. So my brother was in the industry, so I knew the politics going on there, and he's put out some albums and, you know, had some pretty good success, but just a whole different type of fan base. So that song right there that you just played, Walk Alone, kind of unified, bridged the gap between his fan base and my people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
that's dope.
Yeah. But it's a lot, man. I tell people, man, shit, work backwards or work forwards, however you want to listen to the music. I got 5 albums out there. I even got a free album on the site called Narrative that's like exclusive. It's some raw stuff I did with another producer, kind of like a experimental project where it's totally different. It's me rhyming and him doing all the beats. And that's the first project where I basically exclusively rhymed on it.
Okay.
And it's on it's called Narrative. It's on the site. It's like 6 songs on there. And for somebody like you that's familiar with a lot of our films, man, I got a song called Bucking the Preacher. I don't know if you remember that film.
Yeah, that's what Belafonte.
Melaphyre. So yeah, you get a chance, go check it. It's on that kind of vibe. And it's
Okay.
the joint's called Bucking the Preacher. I got another song called what is it called? Daily Word on there. But it's free. It's on the site and it's called Narrative. There's no cover on it or nothing. It's kind of like Nas did Lost Tapes.
Okay, got you. I'll check that out.
Yeah.
Talk about if you don't mind, brother. Talk about your writing process. You talked about how you listen to the music, you know, the R&B jam, Sade and stuff. But you know, concepts. How do you come up with your concepts? You know, the content. You know, the process as far as like, you know, the first verse. You know, what do you got to do to get that first verse to pop? You know, talk about that process.
Man. Well, I give you. It's changed. I mean, listen, I've been writing now. I've been doing it for 25 years now, right? So I give you a synopsis of when I first was rhyming at 16. I used to write my rhymes in my head. Like when people, like Jay-Z say, man, I write in my head. I believe him because at that age, man, my memory is so impeccable. I would be at football practice and I would just be coming up with bars in my head and then get home and write it down, right? So that was my process at first. And it might take 10 minutes to write something I thought was incredible. The first verse, and then the second verse, I'm like, I gotta match that. I can't just do a second verse for the sake of a second verse. So I gotta match the intensity. Sometimes it might take 3 months because I don't feel, until I had a song one time, it was actually on the Ugliness album. It took a year for me to finish the second verse to the quality that I wanted. You know what I'm saying? Because I used to be so much of a perfectionist on writing. So now you fast forward into, I would say, the last 10 years. And now, man, I don't know. It's just God gives, man. I've had verses, no lie, I could tell you, 5 years ago, I was guest appearing on about maybe 20 albums. I did guest appearing. They would send me beats. I would send them back a recorded verse same night or the next day.
I'm there.
Right? And I'm talking about, this ain't no throwaway verse. This is like written specifically for them.
Right.
Listen, they didn't believe it till they saw me do it. And it was just strictly, I couldn't explain it. It was God inspired. Like when I say I know this is what I was chosen to do, I had a verse, I remember this guy sent me a track. I was vacuuming my house. He sent it to me, said, check it out. I stopped in the middle, wrote it, called him, and spit the verse for him. I was like, man, that beat, because the beat would inspire certain things. Before, I used to write the rhymes without the beat. So if you listen to my rhymes, like, I used to have to make beats around the cadence of my rhyme. Wow. So a lot of my stuff was like real rapid fire. Okay. But then, with time and I don't know, maybe having children, you got other stuff to do. Like I couldn't just sit in the studio all day. So I started writing verses on planes. So I was flying between New Orleans and Atlanta once a week for like a year. I would write on the plane, like that hour flight, I would write a verse. I would say, okay, I got to write a verse, and I would write a verse. And that's how a lot of that album, I would say the last 2 albums you will hear, I got some verses that's very intricate, pretty, just crazy. And man, I tell you, I wrote them, they just came to me. Like that, it wasn't no forced thing. It wasn't sit down and write. So right now, I don't do that no more. I used to sit down and write like I'm going to write. Now, I just write when I get the feeling, and when I get the feeling, I don't get up. You know what I'm saying? So I just let it come, and it comes, man. And right. When it stops coming, then I'll stop writing. So when it stops.
With your input, are you reading in the interim process? Are you watching movies? What's going on for your content to come
I wish I could tell you I had the time. I don't even watch, like, I used to be able to do that. Like, I used to watch movies and get little sample breaks. Like, if you listen to Dan Freeman's story, you hear all kinds of snippets and all of that, right?
Right.
So there is an element of that I still have in my memory that, you know what, I saw this film about 10 years ago. I always wanted to sample from. There's stuff on Darren Freeman's story that I had done 5 or 10 years before and had the concept, but I just never had a place to use it. But now, in the last 5-6 years, man, like, boy, listen, I don't know if you have children.
Yeah, I got two.
Listen, well, my time, like, I might get an hour here, and then I got specific time I go and record. So now I'm really I have a collection of vinyl. Vinyl is my book. I mean, to be honest with you, like I do more vinyl listening and get inspired by that to write more than reading a book or watching a movie. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
So I use this example. A guy told me one day, he said, man, you don't even smoke. He said, I listen to your words and some of your stuff is abstract. And then he was like, man, you sound like, you rhyme like you smoke. Like you and I was like, well, I couldn't tell you. I don't know that feeling. And so he was like, well, if you smoke, man, your stuff will be way left field. And I say, well, it might have the opposite effect. You know what I'm saying? It might dumb my stuff down. Right. So, it just, everybody has their own nuance. And I've always had a vivid imagination. I've always been drawn to films that are colorful. I've always been drawn to lyricists that were very, like I tell people that Nas, New York State of Mind, that when I first heard that, I could not stop playing it because I felt like I was sitting in the staircase with him. You know what I'm saying? When he gives the description, this is what was so dope to me about him on that album. He was raw, he was 18, whatever, and his vivid, it was a brooding dark, but he never came across as glorifying or even being a part of it. He just painted the picture to me that made me feel I knew what New York was. Like, I knew what the Queens Project looked like just by that album. You know what I mean? And sitting in that stairwell. Same thing I tell people with the Black Steel in the Hour Chaos. I was in the prison when you saw the video, right? The video was super simple. Right. And you know what the song is about. And he start off, I got a letter from the government.
Right.
Yo, you can't start a song off no colder than that.
You really can't.
Right? You can't start off, listen, you can't start, and I'm big on that. Like you talk about how you write process. That first line used to always have to be the killer. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like when Prodigy used to come, you know what I'm saying? I put my lifeline in between the papers line. Like, you gotta start it off with something that's gonna grab them and then just don't let them go. But when he said, I got a letter from the government the other day, I opened it. Yo, where was you going? You wasn't going nowhere till you finished that song. And then when you heard, like, you was upset. No, I can tell you, Europeans, Africa, everybody. I've been to a PE concert before. When that song come on with that piano riff, you know, that Isaac Hayes sample, and Chuck D's voice, like, that's hip hop to me. You know what I'm saying? That's really all I ever wanted to do, and I've been able to do that at shows. Man, I've had people write me letters telling me how I changed their lives or this, and that's what it's about. You know what I'm saying? And having that power and having that choice of words, man, and using your voice as a vehicle to lift people out of whatever it is. You know, because and uplifting songs don't have to be corny after school special. It could be a song like Nation of Millions. Like, man, that album was inspiration. You talk to most people, even, you know, whether you talk to Dr. Dre, you talk to whoever, they might not do that kind of music, but when they tell you one of their favorite all-time albums, it's Nation of Millions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't argue. You know what I mean? They got everything on there. And then when you play that album, you can't. Your blood got to rush. If your blood ain't rushing, you ain't got a pulse. You know what I'm saying? If you hear Terminator X, if you hear, you know, what's the group out now? It's a group out now that's got some good music, man, and they kind of got a big cult following right now. Run the Jewels, right? Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with Killer Mike and Right. So Run the Jewels kind of has that going. But you best believe LP studied that Public Enemy formula and that early, you know, I would say even early Def Jam formula on how to get the crowd amped and how to get that energy. You know what I'm saying? When you do shows, I tell people like LL, like, people think they know, but listen to early LL, Jack the Ripper. Like, you can't hear that song and not just be like, whoever you going against, if you going to a job interview, if you going into the boxing ring, if you listen to Jack the Ripper, it's going to put you in a state of mind like, I'm about to defeat everything. You know what I'm saying?
Crushing.
Anything. Like my son in here now singing Jack the Ripper. They know I be playing all that stuff for them, you know what I'm saying? All that old stuff. So, yeah, hip-hop, man, listen, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I tell people all the time, like, I'm not a person who grew up in poverty, really, or I really was more, you know, I was blessed, man. My mother, you know, I never was like in extreme poverty. I didn't grow up with an abusive household or anything. Right. But at the same time, hip-hop still saved my life. You see what I'm saying? Like people want to look at it as, well, when they say something saved my life, you had to be in dire straits. Nah, you ain't had to be in, what it saved my life from was from a life of just being ordinary. Or just a life where, you know, they tell you go to school, go to college, just being an engineer. You know what I'm saying? Right. Working for somebody, coming home. Like, listen, it's changed my life. Culture, everything, making you believe, like showing the genius that we are. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got so many people out here. If it wasn't for hip-hop, you never know about the genius of poets that we have. Like Nas. What would Nas be doing right now? You know what I'm saying? You would have no vehicle to express our genius. You know, so there's other ways. Some people, right? Some people do it through sports. You know, you got basketball, you got baseball, tennis, but we genius, man. We adapt to everything. You know what I'm saying? You go to China, you're gonna see an African out there hustling.
Yep.
You know? And speaking Mandarin with his own flavor.
You know what
You know
I'm
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Real talk.
So yeah, man. So I'm always about us, man. Like, look, even my family always teach me everything African with me, everything. You know what I'm saying? Everything. Like, and it ain't even just like this ain't no black conscious thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even be pushing all that. It's just, that's what it is. Like, I can't deny it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's in my blood. It's who we are. We're beautiful people. You know what I'm saying? From the sisters to the music to everything we do. You know what I'm saying? Everything.
Yeah.
And so, I'm always about lifting us, man, and all my albums really. Ever since I took on the Fight For Us moniker on the second album. The first album I did was Lotus, and I was speaking, it was love and lifting and Africa and beauty. And then after that, like I was saying, Fight For Us a lot of times, and it was just like, man, Fight For Us. And then they caught, and I was like, you know what? That's the label. You know what I mean? So
that's what we're about to get into.
Yeah.
So talk about that development process, if you don't mind, as far as even becoming independent, having your own label, you know, Fight For Us. You know, what were the steps you had to take to get to that particular level? And on that note, talk about the business aspects of hip hop that a lot of people aren't really aware of. You know what I'm saying? And how it can generate, you know, a lifestyle and a living wage income, you know, for individuals.
I mean, it was strategic. I gotta admit, like I said, I went to school strategic. I bought my first piece of equipment in college with my refund check. I mean, if anybody went to college, you know that refund check you was waiting for it. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was financial aid or whatever. And I took that whole refund check and bought an ASR 10. That was the first piece of equipment I bought. And I still had that board, right? And that was like $2,500. You know what I mean? So I was serious. That's the first thing I tell people. You got to be really serious, like, about what it is. Like, if you lazy or if you ain't serious, don't do it. You know what I mean? Because it ain't about to be this glory in the sky. You really got to love it. You know what I mean? It's the same way Michael Jordan got cut from his 10th grade team and went back. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he loved it. He wasn't thinking about, well, I'm going to be the greatest player. I'm going to have these $1 million endorsements. He was like, I'm better than this. Like, this is my gift, and let me go get better, right? So that's the first step, I say. The next step, obviously, man, is do you. Like, don't be influenced by the time. If you're trying to copy a style, or you're trying to do this, and you're trying to do this just for money, that's with anything. And it's not a passion, don't do it. Just stop. If you do, keep pushing. You know what I'm saying? By whatever means, man, and when I say whatever means, obviously from my perspective, I'm talking about ethical. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that's going to harm any of our brothers and sisters in this fight. You know, like I could never sell drugs to my people. You know what I'm saying? That was one thing I used to always feel like, it's not, I understand some people who felt they needed to, or people in situations, but I say 90% of those people, if you talk to them now, they look back, they say, man, it was another way I could have done it. You know what I'm saying? Because I tell them, I say, man, listen, first of all, the corner game is extinct. If you want, I ain't seen a brother on the corner selling drugs in so long, I don't even know if they still do it. But it never should have been. Because honestly, when you talked about the risk versus reward, you was better off working at Foot Locker. You know what I'm saying? Because by the time you got locked up, if you count the amount of times you got locked up, how much bail you had to pay, all the stuff, all the tickets, all the fines, and just your time. Like, I tell people, my time is more valuable than money.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because I can't get this time back, but I can get money back. I done lost money before. You know what I'm saying? We all take loans on money. We can get it back. It's nothing. You know, if you got a half a brain, you can get it back. But time, you can't get back. So I say, man, you spend 5 years in jail, and you doing whatever they say, step left, right, step. You know what I'm saying? For free. You gotta count that time, right? You can't get out. You can't go in. You can't make 50 G. Let's say you made 50 stacks, which most of them ain't making selling no nickel dime. But let's say you made 50 stacks. Then you get knocked, and you in there for 4 years. That 50 stacks got to be spread out over that whole time, right?
Yep. You
can't say, man, I made 50 stacks selling dope one time. Yeah, 50 stacks over 5 years, right? Without you, and you lost time.
Right.
Where the cat at Foot Locker, you might be joining on him, and I'm just using Foot Locker as an example, but the cat who saying, man, you know what? I'm gonna try and work my way up, whether it's cooking in the kitchen, whatever. And he make 15 a year, but he got his time. He get to go home and see his family. He get to sleep at night at peace. He see his children. He contribute to his neighborhood, his community. And by the time you come out, that cat might got the opportunity to own his franchise. Or that cat got it. Like, you can't beat that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, when I talk to people and I talk to the communities and the inner cities, man, and even my children, I be real with them. Like, even if you don't do it from a moral standpoint, I mean, my thing was always moral because I'm not doing it. You know, I already know the history behind the dope. I know why they intentionally put it here. All of that, right? Mm-hmm. But even if you don't have that knowledge, because a lot of us don't, and you know, some of us weren't raised with parents that had knowledge themselves, just do the math on it. It don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Just do the numbers. It don't make sense. So I talk to people from that perspective and tell them any monkey can make money. And that's the truth. His money is nothing to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing. It's just a tool. You know, it's just a vehicle to, you know, a tool to get. And it's not even the vehicle to get what you want, really. That's about your relationships and who you know. You know what I mean? And how you treat people and who you deal with. Mm-hmm. You know?
Real life.
Because right now, if they tell you this dollar, if nobody took your dollars, your money is worth. If we say we ain't breaking bread with you, your money is no good here, right? Because guess what? Your money ain't good. You can't go open up. Okay, go to Jewtown and try to open up a store. No. How much money you think it's? You can't do it. There's no money in the world, right? It's about connection. You know, Jay-Z and all of these rappers on a waiting list trying to get in certain complexes and condos, right? And their money is no good. You know, we doing it the opposite way. We let these Koreans on every corner we have in our community. But the truth is they're not really our community because we don't own half of them places in the hood. You know? So that's what I'm saying. I tell people anything on that, man. Like, just do it. Get your money, focus, plan your work your plan. And, man, we unstoppable. You see what it is. I mean, whatever we choose. It could be golf. It could be a garbage truck business. It could be a mechanic shop, whatever it is, and just push forward, man. We unstoppable. And they know it. That's why they don't give us access to this stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why we don't get this access to education. And then they take our brightest, the ones that do show some flashes of genius and brilliance, they try and pick them out and give them a scholarship to this school. And, you know, right. And then now we think we made it because of one person. But no, don't pick out our brightest. You know what I'm saying? We don't get to pick your brightest. You know, I tell people all the time, I went to a black college, but the big part, the important part is we need to keep this intelligence in our communities because too many, like even if you look at Ben Carson now, man, this brother was brilliant. But now he just sound like a plum fool.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's lost now. They've taken him and they done brainwashed him and he lost. He lost his way. But this is the first cat that was doing brain surgery on sultans and kings and all kinds of royalty. Right. You know? Yep. But they pick us and take us. You know? We can't let them. We just gotta stop. Same thing with the Negro League. I tell people about integration. I say, man, shit. Don't come to me about Jackie Robinson. That was the start of the end. You know what I'm saying? We had baseball games in our own communities, Negro Leagues, man. We had corner stores, we had jerseys, we had our own stuff.
All that.
Now the Major League Baseball is 13% black. And I think they even counting the Dominicans, who half of them don't even want to consider themselves black. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
So, right, it's crazy. And my son playing baseball right now. Like, that was our sport. You know what I'm saying? We talking to people now, I don't play no baseball, that's a white sport. Same thing, you heard this story before. I don't play no rock and roll. Listen to no rock and roll. That was white music.
Right, all that was us.
Right? That was us. Same with jazz. That's white music. Guess what they're going to be saying about hip-hop in 60 years if we don't hold on? You know, listen, it's already happening, man. Even my son I had to talk to. You know, he thought some stuff started around Eminem generation. You know what I'm saying? Right. Listen, don't get it twisted. I tell people, pay attention to Martin Luther King pictures when you see him and see if he get lighter and lighter every year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? See if he don't get lighter and lighter. By the time we get dead and gone, if we don't hold on to our stories, they're going to be telling you Martin Luther King was white.
They already flipped Michael Jackson, too.
Yeah, everybody. Eminem started hip-hop. He was one of the founding fathers. Martin Luther King was white. Tupac was white. And listen, it's gonna happen. And the ones that can't pass for white, because Biggie was too dark to go past for white, they gonna bash their name.
Right. That's crazy.
You know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but you know, people think it's far fetched, but it's the same concept as the Sphinx nose getting blown off.
Same
you know,
thing.
it's the same.
Yep.
The same thing. How they tell you Egyptians is all fair skin. You know, the original. You know, the original people inhabitants of Kemet or Egypt or you know. So yeah, it works like that, man. But the thing is, we got brothers like ourselves, man, and with children, and I say, one thing I always tell my people that's positive and uplifting and on it is we got to have more children because we lose in the battle. You know, the ignorant having 10 children, we having 2.5. So, you know, I tell my son, I got to apologize because, like, look, I got 3 now, but, like, we trying to win this war. We can't win this war 2 against 10.
Right.
So, you know, it's unfair for them. You know, you see all this ignorance out here, and these people having children by the busload. And then we putting our children on the battlefield, you know. I mean, they equipped. They got knowledge. They got this. But, man, it's a hard fight. It's an uphill fight. So, yeah, man, we get back to that, man. I tell people, have children. And all my friends, positive friends, I'm like, have children. That's the most, parenting is the most revolutionary action you can do. Good parenting, you know. Yeah, man. So it's always good when I hear. That's like one of the first questions I ask all my people. I said, "Man, how many children you got?"
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Because it gives me perspective. You know, I'm like, man, I dig your energy. I dig what you're talking about. How many children you got? You know, you hear too many sisters like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna have kids. I'll be like, what? Like what? Like, come on, man. You better get them.
Yeah. Man,
yeah,
talk about the concept and the idea and the vision for Fight for Us. I mean, what is this about? Because on the Dan Freeman album, you talk about the symbolism of your logo and all that stuff.
Yes.
Get into that for us, man.
Basically, what it is, as I said, when I came up with the logo, obviously my years of living in Africa, and just my energy, really, like it's the Fight for Us, to explain to people who don't know the logo, is the Africa, the circle, the spears, and the star is in the background. So basically what I'm saying is, obviously we know that Africa is where we're from, you know, where man originated, where if you're a black person, you definitely know this is where you know, you came from as a recent ancestry, right? And then the spear is for the warrior within, because, you know, if you're living in this planet right now, Africa been the most persecuted person in the history. So you gotta be a warrior. You know what I mean? You gotta have that internal fighting spirit. We survivors. You know what I'm saying? We have survived everything. Ma'afa, everything. You know what I mean? So that warrior you gotta have. You know what I mean? You gotta train up your people. And then the star is who we are. You know, so in the background, and, you know, I tell people, don't get it confused. That's not no patriotic. It's not no African-American thing. That's the star is who we are. Whether you want to call a star the sun, like I got 2 sons, or you want to call your daughter the star, which is another form of a son. You know what I mean? So the star is who we are. Embrace your greatness. Embrace your genius, your inner God, everything. And then the circle in the tradition of African anything completes us. You know what I'm saying? So the circle is completion. You know, if you're talking about unification, if you're talking about Sankofa, if you're talking about anything, the circle represents completion. So it's like all of those things put into it is completion. So that was the vision I had for the logo, and it stuck. It was very simple. It was a simple, straightforward logo. And then Fight for Us, man, I just used to say it, and the words stuck. And I just remember when my brother and other people like, yo, that's straightforward. And then people were like, what is Fight for who? And I say us. And they be like, well, who is us? I say, exactly. So let me know who is us. You know what I'm saying? If I'm coming to you and I'm just like, Fight for Us, and you don't get it, then I know you ain't on the team. Right? If I go to, right, it'll keep it moving. If I go to a KKK rally and they saying Fight for Us, believe me, they got no confusion who us is.
Yep.
You know, if I go in there and I say Fight for Us and they look at me funny, I know they ain't on my team. So when I say us, and another thing too, like sometimes you get a smart aleck who be like, well, why somebody got to fight for you? I say, man, if you don't get what I'm saying, I ain't asking nobody to fight for me. I'm saying fight for us as the statement. So that holds me accountable. That holds anybody accountable who wants their freedom, who wants whatever they claim they want to have in this life. Fight for us. It's self-explanatory. The Africa is there. You see it. You know what I'm saying? So, and the logo is funny now with the state of things that's going on with, you know, Mike Brown. And you got to hear this song, man, on the last album called Mark Essex. And it's really like a tribute to all the slain warriors by police or whoever in this society. But anyway, now, you know, people embracing that like strongly. But man, when I first came with the fight for well, why's Africa? You from Africa? You from it? Like, man, you know, so people always ask me because of my features, they say, man, you look like you from Africa? You know, your name, you this? I say, listen, I'm born in New Orleans. I'm raised in New Orleans. I'm from New Orleans, but I was like, I'm as African as you. And that always throw them for a loop when I say that.
Right.
You know, yeah. And they say, you from Africa? I say, I'm as African as you. And so it lets them know, like, listen, I was born, I wasn't born there, but I know I'm African, just like you African. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then, you know, I'll tell them I lived there for 4 years. And, oh, well, that explains it. No, that don't explain it. I just happened to go visit and live there for 4 years. But listen, you know, but anyway, that was, you know, now that's kind of where it is, and that's what Fight for Us is, man. And, you know, and you hear it in the albums and all kinds of facets, man, on all of the topics I talk about, like, you know, getting back to kind of what you were talking about, where I get the ideas from. I mean, it really is just stuff that I've either experienced or lived or seen somebody experience. The Lion's Share song was a song basically I had just on that cover is I went to Ghana. That's a real cover. Matter of fact, I just got in touch with the guy that went to the high school. He hit me on Facebook like, man, I was in the school when you came to take that picture in our school in Ghana before the Dan Freeman album.
Wow.
And he had never seen the album or cover because I went to Ghana specifically. I got stories for days, but that's what got me to Ghana taking a picture for the cover was God sent and just me following my spirit. And he remembered that and reached out to me. And I'm still trying to find the brother that's on the cover because he's probably in his 20s now, like mid-20s.
My goodness.
But, yeah. So, yeah, man, but it's just a lot of stuff, man. Like the titles of the songs on Dan Freeman were obviously, you know, I got a song called Cumbersome. That was my first time I had been working. Yeah, my brother from New Orleans did that song, Nesby Phipps. He's a pretty known producer too in the industry right now. He did a lot of work with Currency and Wiz Khalifa. But yeah, man. So Cumbersome is one. You know, the Joint Shuffle. You know, all of them joints, man, hit home. My brother's on the Hands of the Struggle. That's on there. That's them on that song. You know what I'm saying? One of my favorites on there is that Death of a Salesman. Yeah. I don't know if you towards the end that first.
Yeah, I know. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that first verse is actually a true story. And I say 6 Ward Stone was a hood alum. You know what I'm saying? There was a kid when I was playing football in high school in New Orleans. There was this drug dealer. He was the main dude down there. He was like Meech in New Orleans. And he used to buy the football team all kinds of gifts and all of that. And so that was the story basically on him, but just in a different way. You know what I mean? From my perspective, like I just remember Stone was a known name, and then they found him dead one day, fully written car, you know, slumped over, you know. And then the second verse of Death of a Salesman, and this is kind of like I'm not political, but I do listen. You know what I'm saying? So I listen more than anything. Like we talk about reading and influence. Like I look at a lot of documentaries. I actually look up a lot of stuff. I look at TV a lot, like, you know, news information, and I then decipher how I want it. So the second verse was about the pharmaceutical industry. You know what I mean? And at that time, everybody was like, I'm a pharmaceutical. I said, man, y'all drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just licensed. And so that was a verse on that. I was like, you know, the verse started off talking about this cat. He went to school. He got a degree. He came back home. He started selling pharmaceuticals. You know what I'm saying? But it was the same thing. You know what I mean? It was the same situation. You know, it was the same ending. And even the joint when I talk about Maria Bella, you know, I talked to her from the perspective of she was a mule. You know what I mean? How they sent her over with stuff in her inside, you know, to get the drug. So it's just different perspectives of, you know, stuff that would be sometimes not seen as negative, but I'm just putting, in my way of putting it. And then the final one, man, I was really on it. You know what I mean? That was my first album after Children. My next one was on the way. I was just loving everything about my Africanness, and I wasn't working. The system was screwing up right then. That was George Bush was in. I was just like, man, I'm just ripping everything. So that's when I did the last song called Exit Strategy. And I was like, so man,
hard. Yeah,
like y'all got, like, I tell anybody, and anybody who's been to the continent will tell you, you got to go. Like, you can't even have a discussion with somebody about why you ain't going until you go. I've never met anybody that went and regretted it. You know what I mean? Never.
Right.
So that was really what it was, and me shouting out. So if you notice, even on the album, I'm shouting out. I'm speaking. I was speaking. My son's name is Zulu, my oldest son. So I'm shouting him out. You know what I'm saying? He's on the album. I'm just like, I was doing some chant stuff. Then I had that song called Change. That was about me and my lady, my son's mother. Like, the stuff we had been together for, like, at that time, 13 years, you know what I'm saying? And talking about how relationships and how it's tough working doing music and trying to do, make it in this country and, manage a relationship. So Dan Freeman was really a lot more personal, autobiographical album than the first two. You know what I'm saying? And anybody who knew me knows, like, and it was kind of on the tail end. It's funny, on the tail end of Ugliness, I did a song called Kwesiaya. And Kwesiaya was probably one of the most personal songs where I talk about growing up in Nigeria, growing up, my mother, a single mother, and my brother coming and all of that. And then Kwesiaya was like the last song leading into Dan Freeman's story. You know what I mean? So all of the albums I do are kind of conceptually based. They all kind of have an energy to them, their own separate energy. You will hear an album, they have a totally, like even the sounds, but one thing I consistently do, I had an interludes on there, I had a stuff, that ties it in, and you'd be like, okay, that's a Melaphyre album. You know what I'm saying? That's the same dude, from the production to the verses and everything. So, Dan Freeman, man, that's a good album. I tell people, wherever you started, man, just work back or work up. And, I got people who heard the first that been knowing my stuff from day one, but they haven't heard the later album. And I got people who just heard the last album, but haven't heard the early album. So, I'm real proud of Dan Freeman's story, man. A lot of the energy, the Did You Hear, that was a personal song. The first verse on that was about my cousin, who's locked up now. And, you know what I'm saying? Everything be real. Like, people tell me, like, man, if I want to find out stuff, I got to just listen to your albums. I can learn about your whole background. And, it's kind of true. Like, usually, I usually write, some stuff is abstract, but it's still, at the end of the day, it ties into what I'm living or what I've been through or something related.
So you are a narrator for the most part, right?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, other than some of the direct stories, I mean, like I said, the song Change or the song Did You Hear, like, there's stuff on there. Like, I got a song on there on the Ugliness album called Never Again. Like, that's straight about, that's me. And then I got a song Middleman on Ugliness. Ugliness was more direct stories about me, like stuff I had gone through in the industry. It was like kind of like an angry album, if you want to call any album I did, like, with an angry energy. The Walk Alone, like all of those songs, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Never Again, I got a song on there with Tahir from Dead Prez called Slave Story. And then I got a Slave Stories Part 2 on there. That's huge, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's just different energy, different albums, different things. This Preserve album is just, man, it's one of my favorites too, just because of the energy. And the Briar Patch album basically was the first of the series out of the three that I was telling you. Briar Patch is basically, it was grimy, dark, kind of like a Jizza album. Jizza is one of my favorites, so it's kind of like a rough sounding album, but I love it, you know what I'm saying? So I got my peoples on there, and people that I like rhyming for a long time, but the beats is just like a real grimy album, but it's one of my favorites. And Briar Patch. So that's about, we in the struggle. If you're familiar with Brett Rabbit, you know what it is. So it's like we in the hood, we trying to get out. The ghetto is the Briar Patch, but people don't understand. like at the end of the day, really, the ghetto fueled us to become great as who we are. You know, and Brer Rabbit's greatest trick was like, "Oh, don't throw me in that briar patch, anything but the briar patch."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like for us, like, yeah, anything but the hood. And it's like, man, you know, listen, that hood then brought out some of the greatness in us, you know?
Get free.
So, yeah, exactly. So, that's the first one. Then the second one was the preserve. The preserve is like, okay, some of us grew up in the briar patch in the hood or whatever, but once we got out, now what are we doing? You know, you know, you have children now. Are you working this job and comfortable? Are you starting your own stuff? Are you eating healthy? Are you know, progressing? Are you living a virtuous life? And then that's the preserve and holding on to that. Like how do we hold on to what we claim and still going for greatness? Right. And then the next one is Pegasus, and that's ascension. And, you know, that's on another higher plane. You know,
I'm looking forward to that.
Whether it's spirituality, whether it's transition. I lost 3 friends in the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Through different circumstances, not even natural causes, but like through health issues that you would, you know, and all of them were 38. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of songs on there kind of hitting on that and just talking about mortality and just life and, you know, my children and the new birth of new children and relationships and just everything. So that's Pegasus. So it's essential, man. It's some, and, you know, it's some joints, man. I got a joint on there I can't wait to put out called What Does the World Know? It's another song, man, on the Pegasus album called A Bridge in the Builder. I got a song on there. It's kind of like I never like it in a part 2 Alliance share, but it's kind of like that energy, you know what I'm saying? Joint called A Puppeteer. And, it's basically just the puppeteer. I mean, it kind of sounds like what it sounds like, you know, how media freaking Geppetto pulls our strings and we fall for it, or not even media, but, you know, sensationalism, TV, World Star, Facebook, all of that. And, you know, it's just, that joint is crazy, you know, called A Puppeteer. Yeah. So the Puppeteer, man, Bridging the Builder, got this joint called, what's this other one? The Process. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of titles. There's a lot of songs on this. The last 2 albums I did, I had like 10 songs apiece. I had, on the Preserve, it was like 11 songs. On Briar Patch was 10, because they really were like EPs. But on this one, I'm back to like 14, 15 joint. And then the Africa joint is just another. The Africa is just straight attack song. They just like wartime song.
Beautiful.
So if you know, in the spirit of Fela and Bob's Survival album, you know what I'm saying? That Africa is like that. I mean, it's straight. I couldn't even name it nothing else. I was thinking all these crazy names, and I was like, you know what? Africa. That's it. It is Africa. Simple. Awesome. And you know, of course, I take pride in all of the covers, man. I don't know if you see all of the covers of the album; they all have a story behind them.
Powerful work, man. Powerful art. Very powerful art.
Powerful art. Yeah, and a lot of the artists, man, that are out here doing some real good stuff that, you know, people would be surprised I have connections with. You know, like the Briar Patch album is real powerful, man. That's one of my favorites. Flux. He's a local Atlanta cat, but he got a big international name. Fahamu did the Ugliness album cover. He did Ugliness and he did the Preserve.
Yeah, that Ugliness is very complex, man. There's a lot of scenes, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, little subtle stuff that's on the album, exactly. So, and then when you see Pegasus, that next cover, Pegasus cover is crazy like that. So, yeah, my father was an artist, man. That picture on Ugliness is actually a picture he had of me when I was 7. And that was me moving back I had just moved back from Nigeria and living in the States. And so that's a real life picture of me. And kind of like,
cartoon,
you know, kind of like,
yeah.
You know, what I was going through, not what I was going through, but what I lived in when I moved back. Like, you know, like I talk about narrative, like, you know, I came back to, like I said, the 80s. I said on Dan Freeman, I said the 80s was crazy. The 90s had it coming. Pigs got their fill of us. Guess we was too much to stomach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that was on the first song, that beginning. You know what I'm saying? And it was true. I was like, yo, the 80s. I tell my brother all the time. He said, my brother 10 years younger than me. He called himself 80s baby. I said, really? I'm the child of the 80s. I was born in the 70s, but I lived through the 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw women go from queens to really crumbling off a crack. Like, I seen them deteriorate. You know what I'm saying? Over a few years' time. I seen IV needles literally, like, you know, when AIDS first hit, man, it was crazy. So, you know, I remember that feeling, as a kid, I was still, I didn't really get it. But then as I got older, like the later 80s, like you start seeing people dying all guns, the violence, New Orleans started getting violent in the early 90s. That's why I say the 80s was crazy. Like the 80s really wasn't violent. The 80s was fun. But all the seeds were being planted of destruction.
Yeah, they were.
So by the time the 90s came, it was done. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I say the 90s had it coming. And then the analogy of pigs had their fill of us, that's just making an analogy of these cows. Pigs got their fill of us. Guess we was too much to stomach. You know what I'm saying? They toting that coca, una de la roca. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Fiends, what is it? Fiends turning mules to dreams, just trying to be the dopest. You know what I'm saying? That was fiends see their mules, see their dreams turn from mules. You know what I'm saying? Just trying to be the dopest. That whole thing from the beginning is basically me talking about kind of me moving back to the States and seeing the whole thing. And it's like from the beginning.
Yeah, so, that song is beautiful. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to get into some more of your tracks too, right quick. But talk about what is this Avogadros? What's that? What's Avogadros? The Briar Patch, the Preserve, and then Pegasus. Is this a presentation of Avogadro? What's the concept behind that?
Well, look, I'm gonna take you back. If you remember anything about chemistry class, right?
Okay.
There was a formula called Avogadro's number, and it was 10 to the 23rd times 6. It was like a number they gave you in chemistry. Okay. So when you had a chemistry problem, they would say, you put this problem with this solvent, like, if you had, remember the periodic table they used to give you with sulfur and Na and oxygen and hydrogen? When you used to plug in those into the equation, if you put in Avogadro's number, it could solve any problem that you had in chemistry.
Science.
So the science was, I was like, I told you I was in engineering. You'll hear a lot of references on some of my stuff, a lot of engineering terminology that my friends be like, man, ain't nobody gonna know what you're talking about. Well, shit. We didn't know what Rakim was talking about, right? But you go look it up, or you go do this, right? Or you ask questions.
Right.
So I said, when I thought Avogadro's I said, man, the solution. That's what I was thinking. And to be clever, instead of putting the solution, I put Avogadro's number. And of course, that's going to make somebody a lot more inquisitive to go look up and see what that is. And, Avogadro was a scientist, but it was his formula that they used for chemistry to get the answers and the solutions to everything. So really, what it was is more of a question. I was like, Avogadro's number, Briar Patch. Okay, that's obviously, we worked through that. Then the Preserve, we worked through that. Then Pegasus. And that's why it's a 3-part series, you know what I'm saying? Because all 3 albums are totally different. When you hear Briar Patch to the Preserve, you're going to hear the difference in the album. So Pegasus is going to be different in that way. But all have validity in what the point is of the album. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, check out, I'll tell you a couple of joints. It's funny, my favorite is never other people's favorites, but one of the, Briar Patch, obviously, the Achilles, I shot a video for Achilles. The Establishment, and Gunplay are like 3 of the burners to me on there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then there's a last song on there called It's like a little gospel joint, but not in the sense of how you would think, a regular gospel song. But yeah, that Briar Patch joint is one of my, I ride out to that. And then on the Preserve, man, that joint got such huge reception. I actually got to get to print it up. I stole so many on the tour. But on the Preserve, that Mark Essex has definitely got the biggest. Mark Essex, Poverty, and the title track Preserve got a lot of response. Okay. And Vulture. Okay. But Vulture is huge. Vulture present. I got video presentations. I did a lot of shows with my projector and visuals on this tour. Oh. But one of my favorites on there is called, when you get the chance to listen to Preserve, man, let's check out the joint called Freeman's Valor. Okay. So now you check it out, right? Freeman, I'm making a play on the Dan Freeman thing again. But a lot of people don't, but it's a play on words. So it's like free man's valor. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's on the Preserve. That's one of my favorite joints. And another joint called The Cuss. Mm. And both of those at the end. And it's and even on The Cusp, if you listen, once you start hearing the album, you're gonna start hearing familiar people. It's my brother from my group. I was in a group called Survivalists. And people don't even know about that, a lot of stuff. I got to put that album up. But that was really the first group album. I did a group album first. There was like 7 of us. We did like a Wu-Tang thing. And we all did, I got a song called Thirst in Sahara on that album. And that's like, yeah, if you go, I don't know if you can even Google and find it, but I got CDs. I'm about to put it up on
What year was that?
Too,
what year was the Survivalist album out?
Survivalist was 99. Put it out in Tallahassee, right before I moved to Atlanta. If you Google Survivalist, you're going to probably come up with me, Lot, a couple of people on there. We produced, I don't know if you're familiar with a group called Airlikes. It was down with Their Prayers. We had done 4 tracks for the first Let's Get Free album. We were supposed to be on that album. Yeah, because we were all in Tallahassee at that time.
Okay.
And if you remember that Their Prayers album came out, like that whole time we was all working on the albums at the same time. And yeah, so Let's Get Free, man. I got 4 songs from Let's Get Free that never put out, man. It's so crazy. You know, if you remember Let's Get Free too, you know, Food Clothes Shelter never made that out.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Then that's a classic song. You know what I'm saying? That first Their Prayers, us being up in New York with them and going through that, like that was a huge influence on me not wanting to be signed.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like huge because of the stuff they went through. Like I started writing on the wall and I was right there when they was going through all the label stuff. You know what I mean? Where they couldn't put certain songs on the album, all of this nonsense. You know?
They was bringing, they still do bring heat, but they was bringing heat with Let's Get Free, boy. Man.
Oh yeah, Let's Get Free was it. I mean, listen, there ain't no argument. Let's Get Free is the album. You know what I mean? There's no discussion. And everything before Let's Get Free was crazy. They got crazier songs. Like, man, some of the stuff that they didn't get to put on Let's Get Free is banana. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. So, man. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to, you know, the feedback your people give. And even with you listening to the albums, man, when you get to check out some more of the stuff, man. And like I say, man, this is what I do. As long as I'm blessed and God willing, making good, meaningful music, then I'm gonna keep putting out projects. You know what I'm saying?
Beautiful. Let's get into this Mark Essex track. I'm gonna come back. We're gonna have a few more questions for you. Then we're gonna set it off and end it on that note. So this here is Mark Essex by Melaphyre. Here we go.
Yes, sir.
That's the cusp. Let me get this Mark Essex back. I played the cusp. I'm gonna get this Mark Essex back on. Low for some reason.
Thoughts of destruction in my computer. Question at hand, is am I the subject or the shooter? The system maneuvers. Shirts off our backs like Chastain, where we abstain from Christ to be more like Judah. Prime numbers in the matrix trying to transform. Selling water to the hoarders. Camels in the sandstorms. Where those who perish cherish the numerics. Niggas raise the roof but get shot down from the terrace. Calculating what we making taxes for that bacon. Queens think we take them for granted. Love's been forsaken. What we put our faith in as the bloods go down the basins. Telling me have patience, God the antonym of Satan. Pistol popping, warrant knocking, hoping that they drop him. Suits clean on that cotton, say he gone but ain't forgotten. So how can I see stopping when I know it's devils plotting to put us at the bottom with that Glock at your old gratin? Yeah.
I think it's not got the other speaker on it. What I think is going on with this track, brother, is that there's another speaker that my phone don't have, so it's not picking up the sample that you got going on. So I don't want to.
You know what? It is mono if you're going through the phone.
So that's the problem.
It's a phasing thing. Yeah, it is mono.
So I don't want to do that song injustice because I can tell that mug is hot. I can tell it is. I can tell it is.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's mono. You gotta definitely play it through stereo.
Okay. Is the cusp? Can I do the mono with the cusp? Would that one work?
No. All the other ones are good. Yeah, all the other ones are clean.
Okay, let me go with the cusp then. Let me get that going. Here we go. This is the cusp by Melaphyre Etheoryall off the Preserve album. Check him out on Bandcamp.
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm forced to be an optimist. I'm forced to believe that we can survive whatever we must survive.
On the dusk, wolves in the brush, yearn for the things that we clutch, the objects obtained and corrupt, aim settle fame in the dust, shells disperse, we on the cusp, purge your flesh, poverty or plush, slugs take names when they bust, shots pop like grain in the husk, betrayed over trust, attain and preserve, we on the cusp. You see, my two sons will probably have two sons, raised on the battlefield facing revolution. The resolutions to litter the land with offspring, ones that carry the guns and walk softly, die to live it, aim when you pivot, flames burn to rains, we cross the same bridges, assume position, who place themselves accordingly, no pearly gates and die straits remain orderly. Mother supported me, my whole world comprised of under the guise, living like Lord of the Flies, enemies closest, friends held focus, growing up black cast them diagnosis, evening approaches, bloods pour like mimosas, with all that remains of the slain and the roaches, snakes get touched, storms in the hush, survival's a must, my brothers, we on the cusp, dawn the dusk, wolves in the brush, yearn for the things that we clutch, the objects obtained and corrupt, aim settle fame in the dust, shells disperse, we on the cusp, purge your flesh, poverty or plush, slugs take names when they bust, shots pop like grain in the husk, betrayed over trust, attain and preserve, we on the cusp.
We used to play war, sometimes we wound up boxing. Now we boxing soldiers up in pine coffins. Divine intervention, it just don't happen often. I prayed for it too many times for me to mention. If my face slips, I take trips, I call them fake lips. Constantly reinfecting myself to stay ill. We've been making records like this without a deal. Flow for flow, dope junkies listen to catch a chill. Get ready to froze or overdose without a pill. Wanna test my fresh? Oh yes, that makes sense. Like throwing the ball at the rail, Reeves side of the field. Like politicians telling the truth from what's real. You better come with a game plan to hire somebody who can. I co-cooling, schooling, some fooling this man, I can't lie. Sometimes I fly high like red and meth. Michael Jackson, calling people to help you to death.
Dawn the dusk, wolves in the brush, yearn for the things that we clutch, the objects obtained and corrupt, aim settle fame in the dust, shells disperse, we on the cusp, purge your flesh, poverty or plush, slugs take names when they bust, shots pop like grain in the husk, betrayed over trust, attain and preserve, we on the cusp.
In the first place, the Negro has never been as docile as Latin Americans wanted to be. That was a myth. We were not singing and dancing down to leather. We were trying to keep alive. We were trying to survive. It's a very brutal system. The Negro has never been happy in this place. What those kids, first of all, prove. First of all, they prove that. They come from a long line of fighters. And what they also prove is after the Negro has changed, is that the country has arrived at a place where it can no longer contain the revolt.
Dawn the dusk, wolves in the brush, yearn for the things that we clutch, the objects obtained and corrupt, aim settle fame in the dust, shells disperse, we on the cusp, purge your flesh, poverty or plush, slugs take names when they bust, shots pop like grain in the husk, betrayed over trust, attain and preserve, we on the cusp.
And that's the cusp by Melaphyre Etheoryall. That's off the Preserve album, Avant-Garde Rose number. This is the second of the 3-part series he got. Powerful track, my brother. Powerful track.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Powerful
Appreciate
track.
it.
So you sampled James Baldwin. Did you get to see I'm Not Your Negro? Did you get to see that doc?
Yes, I did. Listen, it's so funny. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, they get these joints after I've been here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I had that sample like 5 years ago.
Wow.
About 5, 6 years ago. But yeah. So of course, you know, I appreciated that tribute. He's one of my favorites, man, just for the fact of he never let sexuality, religion, or anything deter him from his fight for what he believes in with black people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, A lot of times we get caught up, even some of us so-called conscious people, we get caught up in the things about sexuality or religion or this, like who you gonna build with, who you not. They don't understand this man was always a homosexual and obvious. But Malcolm X built with him, you know what I'm saying? Martin built with him. Different people always built with him, you know what I mean? And so what he did preferentially, sexuality-wise, if you agree with it or not, it's not my business. But the main cause was he still was about liberation of his people. Mm-hmm. So that's what I liked about, the film. I don't know if did you see it?
I did. It gave me a newfound respect for the brother, man. I hadn't really dealt with his literature or really his ideology much, but when I saw the movie, I found a new respect for the man, despite, some of the things I may not agree with personally, but he was powerful, man.
Yeah. And see, I knew about it mostly just from growing up, reading some of the words. And the thing is, this was before I knew about his personal sexual choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know about that until maybe 5-6 years ago. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, I respected his mission, I respected his fight, I respected this. So now all of a sudden, I don't respect that. You know what I'm saying? So I had to realize, like, nah, man, he's a dope dude. He's definitely one of the influences of his words, at least, man. You know what I'm saying, on African liberation and the movement and everything, man. I was always with it.
Yes, sir.
I was always with it. Yes, so, yeah, he's got some dope speeches. And he just makes sense, man. He's an intelligent dude.
Very clear. Yeah,
you know
very clear. Very clear.
Yeah,
so in light of that, go ahead finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, and that's one of the things, anything, when I sample stuff, like, on the phone, you got only a certain amount of seconds to get your point across, even on an interlude, you know what I mean? So I always kind of gravitate towards people who make those kinds of statements and kinds of speeches where it comes across in the first 15 seconds, you know what I mean?
Definitely. We got about 10 minutes left, man. I want you to just kind of give your perspective of what African people, particularly in the diaspora in America, need to be doing in this Trump era, based on what you see, all that good stuff. I know that could have been the whole conversation, but if you could just give a synopsis.
I think it's a blessing, man. I tell people, I didn't listen. I haven't voted in 8 years, right, or 7 years now. I guess
I'm with you.
I didn't vote in the last one, and I didn't vote the second term with Barack. So. The main thing, honestly, I thought, when Barack ran the first time, I voted. You know what I'm saying? And I really was like, man, okay, people going to wake up, people going to see this. But I really feel like people got complacent. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that really kind of set people back, especially cats that was, comfortable in this so-called American way. But I feel like with the Trump thing, you got no more excuses. Like, it's in your face. They telling you. I think you got less than 4 years, really, because this cat, I don't even think he's going to last a whole 4 before they put in somebody worse, which will probably be Pence.
Yeah.
But
people sleeping on him.
But honestly, they're sleeping on him. But honestly, and the phone call the establishment on Briar Patch, I kind of speak on it. Like, it's been going on, and we've been knowing it, and it's for too long, people been riding this wave of the Democrats or the Republicans, man, it's all the same. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the establishment. Like, stuff ain't changed in hundreds of years. Like, whether you want to talk about fighting for women's rights or fighting for gay rights or fighting for everybody else's rights, the only person left holding the bag has always been the African. That's the one consistent thing, right? So if you think that this era, Trump telling you, look, and that's the realest thing he ever said. He said, man, what you got to lose? Right?
Right.
And it's true. Like, what you got to lose? Like, we ain't been living no peace. We getting killed. Shoot, during the Barack's term, the police been killing us like flies. So that ain't changed. Like, man, we got to just do for self and use the system how we can use it to our benefit and do what we got to do. Make this money, if that's the tool that it is. There's other resources that's coming. And build, man, just gotta work your plan and plan your work and work your plan, and that don't even mean a lot of people think diaspora means like just making the exodus out. Nah, listen, I believe in you can have a cake, man, eat it too. You can leave, you can go build some land in Africa, you can go get something on the continent, and still hold on to your stuff here if you want. You choose to do that, Like, whatever your choice. But the thing is, you got to go get it. Ain't nobody giving you nothing here. You ain't about to get nothing.
Yep.
Like, if you think you about to get it given to you, if you think you about to get a loan, forget it. If you think that these schools about to give you, if your kid ain't playing hoops and playing nothing like that, and even with that, that's only short term. But if you don't take advantage and capitalize and make the most, think about starting, like getting into growing your own vegetables, having your own farm, growing your own food. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where it's getting to. You know what I'm saying? Because you keep being hooked on the tip, and when they cut it off, then you're done. Then 90% of us, they close these grocery stores. Yeah. We be panicking. You know what I'm saying?
Doing it slowly but surely. They doing it.
Yeah, they doing it. I mean, listen, you see, all they got to do is say there's a hurricane coming, and then you see the shelves be out of water, right? So you already know, man, we ain't ready. You know what I'm saying? And then that's including me. Like, we ain't ready. We got to get ready. And
Killer Mike said that clear.
Yeah, we ain't. Now some of us are more prepared than others. I mean, I fast. I do raw fast. Yeah.
That's what's up.
I fast. That's my son. I fast. You know what I'm saying? I do raw, do vegetarian diets. I work out. But I talk to even my gun enthusiasts. You can be at the range all day. You can shoot all day, right? But half of us can't run a mile.
Man.
You know what I mean? So what you gonna do? You smoke all day, your lungs, you're out of shape, you got them guns, but man, anybody know you hold a rifle for 5 minutes and get weight on you, you got to be in shape. You got to hit the gym, you got to get ready. Because those cats, a lot of them getting prepared.
They running everywhere, man. Here, all you do is see them running downtown, everywhere, the plaza, everywhere.
Yeah. So you not only got to be able to, and nobody got enough bullets to outweigh any government. You know what I mean? So you got to do more than just be able to shoot a gun.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, guerrilla means more than just being physical. You gotta have all that good stuff.
Listen, chess, right? It's chess. You got the pawn, you got the, you got the rook, you got the knight, you got the king, you got everybody, right? So everybody plays certain positions.
Yep.
Which that even leads back to the whole purpose of people like James Baldwin. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. They military. They've been using them. Listen, you know how the Europeans think, right? One of their main weaknesses is homosexuality, right?
Yep.
So, you think people wasn't lined up in certain ways, how we got information? It ain't just female. It wasn't just female prostitutes, So, everybody played a certain position in certain things, So whether it was drugs, I mean, this is a war. So the war, listen, the biggest war on earth, ain't been no cop killing.
Nope.
Crack killed more people than cops.
Man. Yep.
And
we do ourselves.
Listen, diabetes, right? So this is a slow, methodical thing happening.
Yeah, it is.
And we buy it ourselves. Like, man, listen, sugar kill more people than cocaine ever killed.
Yeah, that's that real cane right there.
Right, that's the real drug. Listen, that's the biggest drug. Everybody is addicted to sugar in some form, right? It's the worst drug out here.
Yeah,
and it's a global drug.
Right, legal.
You know what I'm saying? Legal. In everything. I mean, even stuff you don't taste it in. You look on the back and it'd be the third ingredient or the second ingredient.
Right, 28 grams. Like, dang.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, man. I want to go ahead, because I got some things I'm about to get into as well. What would you say, with all your projects that you got out, you got coming out, what is the underlying, is there an underlying message to your music? And if there is, because you talked about being about us and for us, lifting us up, but is there an underlying message, an idea that you want your listeners to capture with your music?
Really, just let's be great. Like, and acknowledge the greatness that we are, man. Like, just let's get it. That's really it. It's not even underlined. Like I said a lot of times on the joint. Like I'll be, chant. Like get high. Like, we play sports or whatever, and you get the coach that gets you riled up, or you got, the teammate that gets you riled up. Like that's what it is. Like let's stop just settling for less, man. We great. Outkast said it, right? We kings and queens. So let's do it, man. Let's just get it, man. Like all of the issues, all of the problems we have, at the end of the day, man, we survivors. let's do more than survive. We've been surviving forever. Like, we gotta live, and let's live. So that's what it is, man. And it's so possible, and everybody else knows it's possible. It seems, except for us.
That's what they fear.
I mean,
they fear us realizing that.
Yeah, it's us. The day we realize it, they know it's a wrap, so they can't let us know. That's why you gotta keep the veil over it, because the day we see the light on it, it's a wrap. You know, a few of us do. You know, it's a few of us that do, and we embrace our God selves or whatever. I mean, you look at even some of the entertainers in the world, you know, they know they like, you know what I mean? Whether it's, you know, Oprah Winfrey or whether it's even Barack Obama or whatever, like, when we embrace and know our life, man, we unstoppable. Yep. So that's what it is. That's my biggest thing. Like, shoot, man, everybody can win.
That's what's up.
And they know it.
That's what's
so
up.
Let's just get it. That's really what it is, man.
So if somebody wants to get in contact with you, they can get you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Bandcamp. They can get your music.
Sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Everything's straightforward. Listen, the site is fightforus.com. FIGHTFORUS, just like it's spelled. Fightforus.com. The Instagram is @fightforus, right? Now, the Facebook, I mean, you can connect this Melaphyre Etheoryall. That might be tricky for you.
I got him. I'll get it in there for him.
Yeah, Melaphyre Etheoryall. You put that in Facebook, you'll get it. So we there, man, and listen, look for the bigger things, the next hour to come, and hit me. I'm always communicating.
No doubt.
I'm on a fast right now from IG posting, but that's only because I got so much stuff coming in the future. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the building, in the caterpillar process right now. You know what I mean? So
Chrysalis.
the butterfly is coming.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful, man. Man, thank you for your time, brother. I know you got some things on your plate, but I want to thank you for sharing, you know, yourself with us at Hebrew Vision Live. No doubt. Big up. And we're going to be in touch again, man. I may see if I can even get you a verse or something, man, and we can go forward from there.
All the time, man. Keep me posted on anything like shows, man, or any kind of workshops that's in your area that you know that what we doing, just let me know.
I will do that. And we're going to end up with the track Exit Strategy, because that's how we going to get out. And this is Melaphyre Etheoryall, also known as Kwesi Ayo, Fighting for Freedom. This is track from the Dan Freeman story, Exit Strategy. Big up, man. Thanks again for your time, brother.
Peace, bro.
Peace and blessings.
But there's no exit strategy for one everybody. See, what we want to do is reduce it down to something simple. If there's 10,000 people in that room, everybody run for the exit, they're going to die.
So do you think there is an exit strategy for us as a people?
I don't even know.
Funny how a lot of us come into this game hustling with the know-how of getting in, but no earthly idea how to get out. I mean, no escape route. I call it our exit strategy. My whole life was the anthology. Slim surrounded my outer core. Society raised inside of me. Our environment fostered diaries. Descript the man, the myth, and the legend exists inside of me. Born to lead the following. Generally see more gun at the separators from the cowardly. Crab-ass niggas climb the ladders with the tentacles, but fear being on top cause of the drop from the pinnacle. Banana clip. Monkey-ass cats peel back when they come through. So pigs call it the concrete jungle. Curious fumble. Losing the grips they have on their bundles. Others hustling here long as Rapunzel. Let's get a jam. Coast to coast, these devils peddling past us. Rappers settling their beefs with handcuffs. It's bigger than hip-hop. The beast got these streets on their cameras. Take that input at the end. There ain't no secret in Santa. The blackest Jesus bleeds on their pamphlets. Once they realize that we just a spot of ink on their canvas. There's two sides of faces. They stand but to fall from their graces. 85 is sit like ones in the Matrix. Now who's the real Christ? We live in pieces for the proof feels like. They crucify us, not for choosing to fight. Let's keep it real. So get their weight up, but they fragile and frail. And just a house away from tipping the scales. We stuck if we fail. We're bound to see more land if we build. Looks like the slave man still man in the fields. Our exit strategy. All we've got is the good in life. All we've got is the good in life. All we've got is the good in life. Armed with love and the fuel of fight. The black man's God and the truth is all we've got is the good in life. We need Nairobi. Get some land in Morocco. Egypt. Tunisia. Yeah, that's Africa. Zimbabwe. South Africa. Zaire. Mali. Fight for my brothers in Sudan. You know what I'm saying? It's Melaphyre, a.k.a. Dead Freeman, a.k.a. Honor was Son, a.k.a. New Orleans Conscious, Kwame's brother, father of Zulu Amir, husband of the Cold Crew, was one on the way. Friends to so many. I call y'all the beautiful ones. Thanks for everything. Stick, man. This lesson's with you, my brother. Keep walking like a warrior. Friends in the car. It's actual. We did it again, my nigga. We gotta make it out. Our extra strategy. Fight for us, y'all.
Yeah. You've listened to Hebrew Vision Live. Mikhail Corbin Yahoo signing off. Next week, tune in, though. We're going to have Ambassador Andrew Williams Jr. on here with the Sankofa 2020 project, as well as the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So we'll be discussing a lot of things as relates to reparation movement. We're going to be discussing connecting with social media, citizen journalism, technology, developing our own platforms and our own outlets. So tune in for next week as we're going to be going into the depths with brother Ambassador Andrew Williams Jr. This is Mikhail Corbin Yahoo with Hebrew Vision Live signing off. Thank you for tuning in. Peace and blessings.